Well, good afternoon, everyone. Is everybody on stage? Nobody's falling off? Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to be here today joined by Associate Minister Nally to discuss an exciting new opportunities for Alberta's petrochemical sector. Behind us, we're also joined by caucus members. We have Jackie Hominick, Jackie Lovely, Jordan Walker, Mark Smith, Brad Rutherford, Tracy Allard, and Peter Guthrie, all members of our caucus who have significant interest in today's announcement. And I would also like to acknowledge Dave Chappell, Board Chair of the Resource Diversification Council, and Greg Moffat, Senior Director from the Chemistry Industry Association of Canada, who join us here today as well. Our government recognizes the importance of the energy sector to our province and to our future. This sector not only fuels our cars and heats our homes, but also makes plastics that we use for everyday products, such as cell phones or eyeglasses. But most of all, the economic return provided by this sector helps to pay for major infrastructure and important services, things such as roads and bridges, hospitals, and schools. Our government knows that there is tremendous untapped potential to develop these resources. On the natural gas side, we are one of the top producers on the planet, and yet we are constrained by market access, and our producers are being forced to sell at low prices. And what does this mean? Well, it means we're losing out on billions of dollars that belong to Albertans. This is why our government has placed such a high priority on standing up for our energy sector and fighting for jobs and fighting on behalf of all Albertans. We need to protect our province's vital and economic interests at the same time as getting Albertans back to work. We need to demonstrate that we are leading the way. We need to show that we are determined to regain and expand our share of the global energy market. And, most of all, that we are open for business. There is significant potential for investors who are interested in taking advantage of Alberta's vast energy resources to enhance current operations and build new petrochemical plants in this province. As part of our platform commitment, we pledged to explore opportunities to attract major private sector investments by leveraging our feedstock into petrochemical diversification. So today, I'm pleased to announce that we will continue to explore ways to revitalize our natural gas and petrochemical sector by considering additional projects under the continuation of Round 2 of the Petrochemical Diversification Program. This program has demonstrated success in developing projects in a financially responsible way, with private industry taking the lead. Now, as we closely examined other programs, we wanted to make sure that we do not place undue risk on Albertans. We will continue to ensure that Albertans come first while we attract new investment. We have also decided to discontinue the previous government's petrochemical feedstock infrastructure program and the partial upgrading program. These programs relied on grants and loan guarantees that carried a higher financial risk to our province and ultimately to Albertans. We want to ensure that the innovation and development that industry can bring to the province is fiscally prudent and benefits both Albertans and investors in our province. Now it's my pleasure to turn the podium over to Associate Minister Nally, who will provide you with more details about the Petrochemical Diversification Program. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Savage. I am very excited to be here for this important announcement in our petrochemical industry. Alberta elected a government with a commitment to fight for our energy sector and get Albertans back to work. From day one, we've been focused on getting that job done. Canada is a leading natural gas producer in the world, with a majority, approximately 2/3 of those resources, coming from right here in Alberta. It's no secret that there have been challenges facing the sector, including restricted market access and constraints on the system. Our government has taken swift action to respond by providing short-term municipal tax relief, reducing AECO price volatility, advocating for more pipelines, and supporting the development of Canadian LNG projects. Despite the recent challenges, there is also tremendous opportunity for the natural gas sector here in Alberta. Natural gas fuels our everyday lives, from generating electricity and heating our homes to manufacturing fertilizers, textiles, plastics, and paints. Our province has a rich supply of natural gas and natural gas liquids, which provides opportunities for companies to invest across the value chain. In addition to our key advantages of low-cost feedstock and significant infrastructure capacity, we are home to a talented and skilled workforce. Working together, we need to further develop our abundant natural gas resources, methane liquids, condensates, and many other products that are all derived from Alberta's natural gas resources. The Natural Gas Advisory Panel also identified this opportunity and recommended ways to encourage petrochemical diversification. And that's why here today, I am proud to announce a continuation of the Petrochemical Diversification Program. This program will encourage private sector investment in new Alberta-based petrochemical facilities. This round will provide up to $1.1 billion in royalty credits to companies who have already submitted applications to develop the methane, ethane, and propane value chains. To date, 2 projects have been awarded a combined $150 million in royalty credits, meaning there's another $950 million of credits that are still available under this program. There is significant potential to stand up for Alberta's energy sector while growing our petrochemical industry. Alberta has the expertise to get the most out of our resources, but most importantly, we also have the know-how to develop them in a responsible manner. To ensure this will happen, my department has been working on a vision to set out our government's plan to revitalize this vital sector while ensuring Albertans get full value for their resources. We will be out in the coming weeks to discuss incorporating industry input on this vision and any potential changes to the way the diversification program works and how it can best attract private industry investment in the sector. To that end, there's one message that I want to leave with everyone today. Alberta is open for business, and this government will continue to stand up for the energy industry in Alberta. Thank you.
And questions?
For the Energy Minister, I recall the request for proposals on refineries was made by the former Premier. Did the government ever get any, it was more of a request for interest, wasn't it, to submit an RFP, if I remember correctly?
Well, we're not continuing the refinery proposal either. Again, as with the PUP program and the PFIP program, there's enormous financial risk to Albertans. Those programs relied upon grants or loan guarantees, so we won't be proceeding with any refinery proposals either.
But did the government get any?
We have not, in our government, we have not received any.
But the previous government, did they get some when they made the RFP request?
There was none that were brought to my attention as being serious in any manner, but we'll get back to you on whether there were any received at all.
Anyone else?
Maybe just describe the parts that you took out from the previous government that you said put undue burden on the taxpayer.
So there was the 2 programs. The PUP program, partial upgrading program, was a program that would give either loan guarantees or grants. Grants are money that we're just fiscally not able to budget for. Loan guarantees come with a great financial risk to Albertan taxpayers. So we're not proceeding with that program, partial upgrading. We're also not proceeding with the PFIP program, which was also loans and guarantees. What we are doing is prioritizing the PDP program, which is based on royalty tax credits. And as Minister Nally said, it's a $1.1 billion program with $950 million left in the coffers.
How many projects were on hold waiting for you to go ahead with round 2?
I believe there was 9 applications, and we're currently going through those right now.
And we'll go to the phones for the next question.
Our first question comes from Emma Greeny, the Globe and Mail. Your line is open.
Yeah, good day, Minister. So I want to switch gears here over to the AER. I understand that the new board has suspended a previously discussed reorganisation, so I'm curious about what the province's role is in that and what will eventually be decided as the AER's new organisational design.
Well, I think today you're probably referring to an announcement. The interim board at the AER did do some layoffs today. As you know, we're doing a full review of the AER and its mandate, its governance structure, and its operational practices. That review is underway right now. There's an interim board in place that makes decisions on personnel.
Can you give us a timeline or an estimate of job cuts that are going to come out of this? And also, is the reorganisation still going to happen as it was previously discussed by the old board?
So we're part of the AER review is looking at the mandate of the organization, and you need to know what the mandate is to know what the org structure is and where to prioritize and place staff. So that review is underway. We've had targeted roundtables with interested parties. There's been several of them across the province, meeting with industry, landowners, academics, Indigenous groups, environmental organizations to get input. So that we're reviewing that. We're reviewing online submissions to move forward with some recommendations on what if any, changes to the mandate would be of the AER, which would obviously then feed into how the AER should be organized.
And we have another question from the phone.
Our next question comes from Chris Barco of the Calgary Herald. Your line is open.
Hi, Ministers. Going back to the question of the petrochemical program, you mentioned that there's a number of proposals you're examining. Can you give us an idea of what kind of proposals they are in terms of what are they looking at, ethane or methane? And can you give us a sense on when the government would be prepared to make announcements on those fronts?
Ethane, methane, and propane is what we're looking at, and I can say that we're going through the applications now. And we were elected on a mandate of jobs in the economy, so we're going to make an announcement as soon as we can. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a specific date for you, Chris, but we will move quickly on this.
And one last question from the phones.
I've got a follow-up.
Yep, of course, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, this is to Minister Savage. You talked about the fact that you like the royalty credits, but how do you draw the line on royalty credits versus loan guarantees versus direct investments? I guess where is the dividing point on what you feel comfortable with? Because in some form, they are all incentives or subsidies.
Well, there's less risk associated with a royalty credit because the royalty credit would come to the proponent when the project is completed, and it would be the royalty credit operates for the proponent to reduce royalties paid, and it's transferable to others. So there's not the degree of risk to the province or taxpayers. With loan guarantees, well, we've all seen examples in the past of where loan guarantees have gone bad and taxpayers are on the hook. And for grants, direct government grants, we're in a period of fiscal restraint and having to be responsible with money. There's just no available money for grants. So royalty tax credits are a beautiful mechanism to be able to incent the industry and at the same time not put Albertans at risk.
Perfect. And we'll move to the last questions from the phone.
Our next question comes from Jeff Morgan of the Financial Post. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. First of all, I want to start by clarifying something. The previous government had made 4 announcements out of this, or out of their program, 2 for propane projects in the heartland, 1 for a methane project in Grand Prairie, and a 4th for an acrylic acid project. Earlier in this press conference, you described 2 projects. I'm assuming those are the propane ones, which are under construction. Can you just clarify, are the methane and the acrylic acid project, has that funding not been awarded? Has that funding was maybe less certain than was previously announced?
The two projects was Interpipelines and Nautical. Thank you. Nautical. Those were the 2 successful programs. Just because we haven't announced anything else, all the applications are currently being reviewed, and we're looking at all possibilities.
Okay, sorry. So I still have another question, but so the Pembina PDP PHP project, I thought ground had broken on that. I thought they had reached a final investment decision.
Yeah, that was PDP 1.
Not under this program?
That would be PDP 1. We're doing, this is PDP 2.
All right, folks, and then we'll just wrap it up with a quick photo here and an opportunity for.
Mike, can I throw one out? Mr. Savage, did you see the announcement from the Prime Minister today saying TMX was going to go ahead?
Sure, well, that's good because we expect it to go ahead. You know, the results of the election, Albertans are angry, and they're rightfully angry. We had 3 of the federal parties run on a platform that was anti-pipeline, anti-oil and gas, and anti-Alberta. 3 of those platforms were very detrimental to Alberta. And Albertans have the constitutional right to develop and manage and control our natural resources. And we had 3 federal leaders who don't even understand the Constitution, and that Alberta has that right. So we're going to be, that's why we're standing up for Albertans' rights. And that pipeline, there is no basis for it not to be built, and we expect it to be built.
Minister Savage, is the government still on track by 2030 for the phase out of coal?
That's, well, I think for that question, most of the companies that were coal producers have already, they're in transition plans to transition to coal to gas. So that's a process that the private industry is undertaking on its own.
And last opportunity here, folks. We got to get these folks back to caucus. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll just step back for a photo and then get our caucus members back to doing their jobs. Yeah.
Oh, you're not moving it? Okay.
Yank the mic out, Chuck. Just the mic.
Just the mic? Yeah.